Hello and welcome to GG Weekend Watch. You're joined by myself, Dave Young. We've got Andrew Mount and Matty Sutcliffe on this week's show. It is day 5 of Glorious Goodwood on Saturday. We have a couple of races from Newmarket to cover too, so 7 races in total to look at for the ITV Racing. We'll get stuck into those very shortly. Just a couple of bits of housekeeping at the start of this. A big thank you to our sponsors, Bet365, with their position payout. We'll talk about that in a couple of races later on when no doubt Andrew and Matty find us some massive priced selections for this week. Speaking of massive price selections, wasn't the most fruitful weekend last weekend. I had a bit of a howler, to be fair, but of course Andrew Mount to the rescue with a 22-to-1 winner, Cheshire Dancer, in the 220 at Ascot. Chantilly Lace was my best shout about last week, 3rd in the same race, which isn't very good, is it? Andrew had a couple of other places as well. Kalpana 2nd in the King George, Jubilee Walk 2nd at 13-2 in the 2 o'clock at York. We want to just thank our members as well on this channel that you guys help with us getting lots of decent content out there. Marcel Cheatman, you're going to get a shout out this week because you're the newest member on the GG channel. So as always, make sure you're liking the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested to find out about being a member, there is a link in the description. Right, gentlemen, that is that out of the way. It's good to see you back, Matty. I'm going to kick off the show with the first race, the 120 at Goodwood. As you so beautifully put it before we started recording, any race with Al-Azi as favourite to kick off a Saturday show shows the Saturday. But he's a top price 15 to 8. He's 13 to 8 of our sponsors, Bet365. Candleford and Meydan are in at 6-1. Single figures for quite a few in here. Mount Atlas, Ambiente Friendly, Arabian Crown, and then it's 50-1 poke Raja. So can you make a case for Raja, or is it something more straightforward in the 120 at Goodwood, Matty?
Delight to join you as always. Not so much a delight to go over this Saturday car. It's not the most inspiring. I mean, Al-Azi is the worthy favourite on paper, isn't it? He's £3 clear of the field on figures, and we know when he puts it all in, he's a classy horse in his day. But I mean, he started favourite 12 times. He's been beaten 6 of them, so you just have to take him on. As we know, he has the potential to dog it in a race. The issue is what do you kind of take him on with? I mean, the majority of these are relatively exposed at this grade, or just come up short sometimes. I think Candleford's probably in here to set a good pace for his stablemate. The one that I thought I'd maybe take a chance on is Mount Atlas. He's relatively unexposed in this company. He's progressing quite well. I mean, he started this season with a 3-length 4th in a Kenton handicap off a mark of 98. But the next time out, he posted a career best RPR at Chester in the Ormond Stakes. And that form's worked out quite well. The winner, Al Kareem, has beat the 3rd Absurd at York next time out. Then next time out, Al Kareem won again. Illinois, of course, has finished 2nd twice in Group 1 company since. So the form has worked out. So we know he can acquit himself well in this company. And the trip, which was just a mile and 5.5, I think, just maybe on the long side for him. He then finished a 5 lengths 5th behind the Ethical Diamond, the Duke of Edinburgh at Royal Ascot, when faring best of those come from rear. Before taking a Class 2 handicap off top weight, posting a career best RPR then. So I just think he's an improving type. He's form over this distance now, 3rd, 2 wins, and 2nd and 5th. And you'd imagine that he'd be suited to this gluey overwatered surface. He's won on soft ground before. So we'll take a chance that Mount Atlas can be the improver to beat Al-Azi in case there's an off day.
I like that. Top price for Bet365 as well at the time of recording, 6-1 for Mount Atlas in the 120 at Goodwood. Andrew, it didn't take long for Matty to mention the watering and ground at Goodwood. Yeah. Don't want to stay fast this week, but we talk about it a lot when it happens with the going. Is it going to be a big significant factor in this opening race, the 120 at Goodwood?
Well, we're recording this just after race 2 on Thursday, just gone 2 o'clock, and we've seen some weird and wonderful things going on this week, not least Quirat's front running win in the Sussex Stakes. Now, as we're watching this, it's absolutely bucketing down at Goodwood. I've backed a soft ground horse in the 5:30 today, and I'm worried that they're going to abandon the meeting before. They'll be back from 28-1 into 4-1 favourite, and they'll probably end up not running the race. That'd be just my luck. Is it going to dry out sufficiently for the good or faster ground horses here? Possibly not. So Al-Azi, although he won this last year, I'm quite prepared to take him on at the head of the market, 13-8 with Bet365. The one I like just because of his soft ground form, is Arabian Crown for Charlie Appleby. Now, he was gelded ahead of his last run when I put 2 up in this race. El Cordoba is the winner in Arabian Crown, based on the pace angle, thinking there wasn't much pace in the race. That was in the Prince of Wales' stakes at Newmarket, a Group 2 contest. He only finished 3rd that day when Willie Buick's mount was well backed, despite starting at the outside of the 2 Godolphin runners in the morning. He ended up going off ahead of Arabian Crown, who looked like he needed the run, say, after that short break in the gelding operation. You look at his soft ground form, he's only had 2 runs unofficially soft going, winning at Sandown, winning at Newmarket. So in the hope that the rain continues this afternoon and it stays on the soft side come Saturday, I think Arabian Crown will run a race. Now, you mentioned Raja. Not totally convinced he's going to want soft ground, but he's ridden by Jamie Spencer, who has got a good record at Goodwood when the ground is good to soft or softer. When it gets really soft at Goodwood, it favours that late wide run, which Jamie Spencer excels at. You go back to the start of 2017, his record at Goodwood on good to soft or softer going, 10 winners from 53 runners, a profit of £66.61. So I wouldn't totally dismiss the chances of Raja, but I'll go Arabian Crown.
Oh, I like that. So we've got 5-1 Arabian Crown with Bet365. It is as big as 8-1 elsewhere, but I guess we're going to have that with the markets over the next 48 hours with weather watch and things like that as well. Raja, top price 50s with Bet365. 7 runners, so in their position payout, it would be the first 2, but you'd get significantly more for second place than you would back on that horse each way. So interesting that Andrew's made a small case for that one at a massive price. Right, Andrew, moving on to the second race, the 155 still at Goodwood. It's the 1 mile 6 furlong Coral Summer Handicap. Decent looking race, this one. We've got 14 runners in here. I guess we'll have to see how many of them hold their ground, but 4 places up for grabs. Headed in the market by French Duke, 4-1. We've got Aeronautic in there at 6-1, Sam Hawkins at 7-1, and it's 10-1 and bigger the rest. So what are your early thoughts on the 155 at Goodwood, Andrew?
Yeah, I thought I won't have to do a lot of prep on this race. I'll just tip the Charlie Johnson runner, because Mark and Charlie Johnson's have won this 5 times from 23 runners in the past 10 years for a profit of over 27 quid to a £1 stake. No runners this year, which was something of a surprise. Some other interesting stats: horses who prepped on the all-weather, 0 from 15. An Ascot prep is 0 from 17, which rules out a few of these. A York prep, 0 from 16. And horses who ran over 1.5 miles or shorter last time out are 0 from 40 in the past 10 renewals of this mile 6 handicap. I thought that was an interesting stat, because the expected number of winners was almost 3.5. So that seems quite significant. So one I've come down on the side of for William Haggis Yard is Sam Hawkins, who arrives here on hat-trick. He was gelded ahead of his reappearance run at Ripon when he started his favourite. Looked in need of that, though. Finished 4th despite starting as the 5-2 favourite, and then won at Newcastle, and then last time out won at Hamilton, beating Savrola into 2nd. Savrola, of course, who was the won the Northumberland Plate consolation race next time out. So I thought Sam Hawkins is on an upward profile. He fits the stats for the race, and I'll give him a whirl. And because as well, that win last time out came on the soft ground. He's got a heavy ground Salisbury win to his name. So if the rain does continue, it won't inconvenience him.
Oh, I like that. Sam Hawkins for Andrew there is a top price 7-1 with Bet365. It's a fifth of the odds, 4 places. Again, I'll mention the position payout. If you back the horse in there, you get more the higher the horse places. Matty, the 155, 1 mile 6 furlong summer handicap. Can't believe Andrew's not mentioned Master Builder, because he didn't miss out on too many of the old trends. Starts running after a few starts each season. Do you give him any chance, or are you looking elsewhere?
I think mine and Andrew's notes are almost completely the same. I mean, the obvious starting point, as Andrew said, was to back the Charlie Johnson train running here. But given there isn't one declared, you've had to jump ship elsewhere and rethink the process. And yeah, I thought the obvious one was the improver in Sam Hawkins. As Andrew mentioned, he did start favourite for that run at Ripon, and on yard debut just needed the effort. And I really liked his win at Newcastle. He had a good time. He caught a good time figure in the process. Won relatively easily under hands and heels, putting 6 rounds clear of the third, who in turn finished second to Cabello de Mar next time out. It was then second to French Master at the Royal Meeting. And the fourth as well, the fourth from Newcastle, I think, Dancing in Paris. He was also beaten by length at Goodwood by French Master, prior to finishing second in the Northumberland Plate. So that form's worked out really well. Backed it up in that Sunday Series contest at Hamilton. from a £7 higher mark. One a bit easier than the neck margin suggested, giving £8 to the second, who then won the Northumberland Vars next time out. With the third also, Frank in the form, finishing second to Thunder Run in the Bellringer handicap at Ripon. So both of his wins worked out well. There's been nothing fluky about it whatsoever. It was actually originally entered in the Northumberland Plate, and I did quite relatively fancy from that race. So they've skipped it. Giving him a break for Goodwood. So the most thing will stay further than 1 mile 5. Visually, it looks like he will do anyways. And as Andrew mentioned, he's proven on soft ground before, and he actually made his debut at Goodwood as well, being beaten half a length by Black Run. So all the signs are positive, and it's a fairly confident selection in Sam Hawkens.
Oh, I like it. So both of you in agreement, and I'd say you both sound relatively bullish, but Matty especially bullish on the chance of Sam Hawkins in the 155, the Coral Summer Handicap, top price 7-1 with Bet365. That time is correct at the time of recording, which is now 2:15.
So you look at the profile of like a William Haggis trained hat-trick seeker on an upward curve running in a Goodwood handicap. You're expecting sort of 7-2, 4-1. So when you see 7-1, you're thinking, well, that's got the likelihood of shortening. So I think if you get on now each way, you could be in a good position come Saturday.
Absolutely. I'll mention it again with the position payout. If you end up getting on bigger prices, those position payouts actually look even juicier. So have a look at that, especially if Bet365 are still top price. As Andrew says, probably going to shorten, isn't it? Especially when this goes out. Right, I said it was like a timestamp of 2:15, almost the 2:15 on Saturday. The 2:10 at Newmarket, switching tracks for the July course. 6 furlongs, a fillies nursery handicap. I'm glad you guys are on the panel and not me this week. We've got 5 runners in this particular race. Top price with Bet365 is the favourite. Sayadar Hard Spun. Then we've got Awaafi in at 7-2, Asli in at 4-1, Milaf in at 4-1, and Ruby's Angel at 6-1. So Matty, it looks a pretty tight enough market with just the 5 runners in there. Fillies nursery handicap, an ideal race for you to get stuck into for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a race I'm particularly interested in. Last couple of years, it has gone to horses previously prepped or raced in listed company before. So been dropping back into nursery companies. As I said, Cedar Hard Spun was behind Anthelia at Sandown before going to win next time out. So he's the obvious favourite. Milaf has had some good racing in France too. But the one I'm more interested in is Awaafi. Now, Richard Fahey has had a poor season for his standards, particularly with his 2-year-olds. They've been under a cloud most of the year, but he made a really, really good impression on debut at Hamilton. He looked completely outpaced. So, well, he looked in his comfort zone, but it was around five lengths attachment, around 3 out, and he just picked up rapidly to win going away on the hands and heels riding. The second for Carl Burke has gone in next time out. The third's been beaten length and 18 grand Newcastle novice. So the form's worked out well there. And he stepped up to 6 next time out when ahead of Ruby's Angel, giving weight away to the field, albeit only £2. And he was beaten in length. The winner had already flown. He was well positioned throughout on the prominent ride. Previously showed up quite well at York. So I don't think the form's all that bad. He wasn't given a hard race either, but did stay on well on the hands and heels. And then so for a mark of 77, which looked quite workable, despite the yard still remained under a cloud, they did win the race in 2023 Flat Chanella. So I think Awaafi is the one at the prices.
Fair enough. 7-2 Awaafi for Matty in the 2:10. Andrew, 5 runners, a tight market like this. Stick all 5 of them in your place pot and get over and done with?
Stick 4 in, rule out Asli. Stuart Williams, nothing against Stuart Williams, but it's not been a good race this for locally trained horses. Newmarket trained horses are 1 from 37 in the past 10 years. Now, that might not sound significant because there's only 1 qualified this time around, but go back 10 years, there were 20 runners in this race, and plenty were Newmarket trained. I'm with Matty. I mean, I might as well go now and just whatever Matty says, I'll agree with the rest of this show. But I like Awaafi. Richard Fahey's won this twice. I think it's twice from 7 runners over the years. The winner on debut at Hamilton, and then last time out did best of those who came from off the pace when second to Rogue Temptation at Haydock. Now, that running style, a slight concern with just a small field and whether the front runners will get away from her. But and obviously Matty's already made had a good mention of Richard Fahey's terrible form this season. Missed a 6%. I think I mentioned last week, is now mid to 3% over the last fortnight. 2 winners from 68 runners, but I'll still be with Awaafi. The other interesting one for me was Ruby's Angel, who was third in that Rogue Temptation Awaafi race at Haydock last time, only just losing out on second place. And last year, Hugo Palmer ran one in this race in the same colours, this 8-2, who finished second behind the 5-2 favourite when a 6-1 shot. So if you like that form line, which me and Matty both do, then I think maybe Awaafi over Ruby's Angel and a reverse forecast might be the way to go. Way to go in it. And at the moment, looking at the prices, that's going to play pretty nice. A 7-2 and 6-1 with Bet365.
I like that. So yeah, 7-2 as you mentioned for Awaafi for both the boys again in the third race. Our first coverage from Newmarket. Back to Goodwood though in the 2:30. The Lily Langtry Stakes. We've got over 1 mile 6 furlongs. We've got last year's winner, Term of Endearment, now trained by William Haggis. We've also got Joseph O'Brien, the Irish trainer, bringing Goody Two Shoes over. Of course, Terms of Endearment won this last year for Henry de Bromhead. They're vying for favouritism at the moment, Andrew. We've got Goody Two Shoes favourite with Bet365 at 100 to 30. Terms of Endearment has actually just shortened up a little bit on my screen into 100 to 30. So joint favourites, the pair of those. Does the winner come from those? One thing I'll ask as well, if you have got it to hand, they're both 6-year-olds. I can't remember the last 6-year-old winner of the Lily Langtry. Is that a negative for them?
I'll check that out in a sec. One positive stat on the Lily Langtry is last time out winners, 6 from 23 in the past 10 years. Profit of £13, 5 pence to a £1 level stake at SP. Looking at the age stats, very few have tried. In the last 10 years, 3 3-year-olds, 4 4-year-olds, 3 5-year-olds. Only 2 6-year-olds have run. 8th at 11 to 4, that was Free Wind last year, and 5th at 33 to 1. And 1 7-year-old, a second at 18 to 1. So I think ruling out horses on age ground probably not ideal given the very small sample size. But again, it's all down to the ground, isn't it? Do the showers stop soon and then it's virtually good ground come Saturday, or do they continue and it's soft or even verging on heavy? So I like the look of Waardah here, who was a winner over a mile 2 here last time out, up in trip, but 2 runs right-handed have produced 2 wins, both on soft ground, 1 at Sandown over a mile. So last time out from Anna Swan over at this track, and sort of stayed on strongly that day. I've not looked at the breeding in detail, but given that the size postponed, I thought a mile and a half at least would be within the stamina compass. So I'll take a chance on the stamina of Waardah, and she's a price as well. I think around about 13p with Bet365.
Yep, and it's 9 runners at the time of recording, so we've got 3 places up for grabs, a fifth of the odds. I'm sure those place terms will stand up about 5 even with non-runners.
The danger with that is, like, if the fast ground horses get pulled out, then you're going to end up with sort of 6 or 7 runners perhaps. But I'd certainly back Waardah to win at 13 to 2.
Like that win only dart then for in the 2:30 the Lily Langtry Stakes. Matty, what were your thoughts in this Group 2 at Goodwood?
Well, my first thought was you won't see many favourites of the Lily Langtry that ran over fences at Taylor's in March, will you? But since she's been dropped back to this discipline, Goody Two Shoes, she's former reached 3rd in 3 wins, and she's 2 from 2 over 1 mile 6, so she has to be respected with Buick on board. Term of Endearment won it for Henry de Bromhead last season, as you mentioned, Dave, but she's yet to win Haggis. She didn't stay 2 miles all that strongly last time out on the Asher Stakes behind Coltrane, and then she's probably better judged on that second to Scenic in the Bronte Cup, who backed that up next time out as well, and she's probably in the front for a touch too long there. Swerner has something to find on the Term of Endearment form from York, Term of Endearment form from York, and it's a rinse and repeat. As my notes is, I wonder whether it may pay a chance the unexposed 3-year-old Waardah for Owen Burrows, who was in excellent form as he always often seems to be. Dora postponed, beating a fillies handicap at Southall off 88 on the seasonal debut. But as Andrew mentioned, she left that well behind when stepping up to 1 mile 2 here on soft ground, travelled really well, and she only seemed to hit top gear later on to fend off Anna Swan. She looked like she's all stamina. The form hasn't worked out all that well, which is a little bit of a concern. But she's a rapid improver, and as Andrew mentioned, by postpone, now have a new approach from her. The only other, Andrew mentioned the pedigree. The only other cross between that, Nick, on the Racing Post database, I forgot the name, but it's thrown up a 2 mile hurdler. So you'd imagine that this 1 mile 6 will suit, both on pedigree, both on visuals as well. And in what is a relatively weak enough race, as some of these are quite exposed at this level now, she receives plenty of weight from the field. And 3 also have won this race, as you said before. So it'll be a Waardah for both me and Andrew again.
Oh, I like it. But it's good you boys are in agreement, because we don't want to just say something for the sake of saying something. We've got a few races in a row in agreement. Waardah in the 2:30, the linear Langtree for both the boys, 13-2. That price is correct at the time of recording. Right, Andrew, we're going back to you for the 305 at Goodwood. You might better preview this for both yourself and Matty, or maybe I'll just go 3-2-1 and you both just say the name of it. We've got the Stewards Cup over 6 furlongs, Heritage Handicap. I'm not even going to do this in price order because I've got to give a mention to Pure Sangui that I fancied at Ascot. Got to have a chance in here. Surely one of you can make a case for that horse. Oshie Murphy's been chucked off. William Buick takes the ride. The rain's falling. I think this horse is quite easy to make a case for. 6 places up for grabs with Bet365 though, and it's a deep field. We've got 28, the max size field in here. Elmon Jed's heading the way at 11-2. We've got Hammer the Hammer at 6-1. Get It 8-1. Completely Random and the aforementioned Pure Sangui at 9-1. Double figures and bigger the rest, Andrew. So, I mean, how many darts do you need to throw at the Stewards Cup to hopefully find the winner?
How many runners are there?
28.
Yeah, 28 darts then. Yeah, I've got to surprise you. Regular listeners and viewers will know that I hate those draw for the draw events, but I was actually quite intrigued by the one that was done for this race earlier on. And one angle I hadn't considered earlier was that connections like to choose an even number draw because the odd numbers are loaded first. So if you get an even number stall, you won't be in the stalls for as long as some of your rivals. So I've not checked whether that's a profitable angle for finding the Stewards Cup winner in previous years, but it was quite interesting. The one I tipped in Racing Football Outlook earlier this week, completely random. One of the horses I put up each way in the Woking, who got the each way money when 5th of 28 behind Get It. Doing well to come from off the pace when you had to be on the front end. Was last out and has got stall 1. Has got pace around him, particularly from Hammer the Hammer in stall 4. But Get It, last year's winner, the Woking winner, is drawn in stall 27. That one's going to blast against the near side rail. And having just watched the 2-year-old race at Goodwood, the 155 on Thursday, when they came out of the stalls, 2 horses stayed more towards the stand side, and they finished 1 and 2. So it'll be fascinating to see what the draw does. Recently, it has been an advantage to be drawn in stall 14 or higher. I think 7 of the last 8 winners came from 14 or higher. I think they're going to, even though the turf track's going stick reading, saying at the time of recording, it's quicker on the far side, favouring low numbers. Now, I think what will happen is most of them will come near side following Get It. 1 or 2 will be marooned in no man's land in the middle of the track rather than go to the far side rail. And I think it might be a case of being drawn high. So that's enough to put me off, say, completely random. And yeah, as for the rest of it, I'm not sure at the moment. I'm going to need to do a bit more work on it. Romboy Run's potentially interesting, given he's by Raja Singh in first-time headgear. 25-1. Can we have a stall 19? That can be a positive angle. But yeah, refer to my column on Saturday morning once we know the draw and I've done more. So once we know the going and I've done more work on the race. But for the purpose of this video, I'll just take a little stab at Romboy Run with the headgear angle, a potential positive.
I like that. Well, it's because I've made you go first, Andrew. You don't know what Matty's going to tip that you couldn't give us a...
Yeah, I normally just copy him.
But it's interesting you say that about the draw as well, because it's something that I'm aware of when I've done the cheat sheets for this. So I know that Pure Sangui's on the wrong side of it. Matty, can we get a mention for Strike Red, that another horse that I tipped up last week ran all right? He's got a nice high draw. Has he got any chance of the race? Or again, 28 runners, how many darts do you need to find the winner in this?
No, I think wait for Yorker Strike Red. I think your season's going to be tailored around that. No, just run by run, and then we'll move on to the next race. No, I did. Yeah, I'm not a huge. It's a fantastic race. It's a race I love trying to work out. Not a huge fan of Elmon Jed in here. I think it was given a very well timed ride by Jim Crowley for once at York last time out. He's £3 wrong under a £6 penalty. Didn't look awfully thrown off 97 that day for all the cheap pieces that were worn there. Did sharpen him up. Ham and the Hammer's been given a break since being second in the Palace of Holyrood House Stakes at Ascot off top weight. That form's working out very well. With the winner fourth in Group 3 before a no second here on Tuesday, and Red Orange was a neck behind, has also franked it since. So the form's worked out well there. Step back up to 6 will suit. And 3-year-olds have won this race. 3 in the last 10 renewals have gone to 3-year-olds, so it can be done with the weight for age allowance. Big hell. Get It. The only issue with that is he's going to want to shoot off as he Get It. They might just cut each other's throats up front and set up something off the pace. Anaf would be interesting, but that tinfoil hat saying to me that he's going to go back for the Portland handicap at Doncaster. He's only a pound higher than that now. That was his last handicap as well. But as I say, only a pound higher. Just imagine the work back from that race. The two that I've landed on are both towards the rear end of the market, and the first one is Comanche Falls. I know he's gone off the boil since landing this race in 2021, I think it was. He's only had 2 runs at Goodwood, and both of those efforts came in this race when winning both of them. Firstly off 103, then off 101. He's in off 100 now. And I know he's £2 wrong, but I mean, back in his last 9 handicaps. Well, he's racing like 9 handicaps recently, all in a row, all off top weight. Obviously, since winning the Stewards Cup and then finishing second in I think it was the Air Gold Cup as well. His mark's been far too high for handicaps. And while he has won, I think 3 races in listed in Group 3 company, he's just started to go off the ball in the last couple of years. He takes his first handicap back was off 107, so he's dropped to a workable mark now. As I say, he doesn't have to carry top weight anymore. And the cheek piece go back on, which have been effective on both wins here as well. And he hasn't. It's not as if he's been disgraced recently. No, it was only 3 length 8 in the 3 length 8th in the Stewards Cup, the Scottish Stewards Cup. You just imagine that his whole season would have been geared around something like this to try and go 3 from 3 at Goodwood. The other at a price is St Lawrence now. He's developing into a little bit of a cliff horse for me. I'd just be amazed if he couldn't capitalise off this mark of 95 at some point. It's his lowest mark in handicaps yet. He won the Wokingham in 2023 on yard debut off a mark of 100. And he proved that was no fluke when going I think he was beaten half a length in the Prima Rooster Geese next time out. Sorry. He's winless since the Wokingham, but he's run some good races since. Again, he put up a good effort in the Prima Rooster Geese last season. And I just wonder whether the whole point of this season so far has just been to lower his mark. He's had 4 runs at Newcastle in all weather. Only make his debut on the surface in November. Really eye-catching a couple of those as well. I think behind Marshman in one, and he just never came off the bridle in the Hollydale. Never got competitive on rattling ground at Ascot in the Wokingham under Colin Keane, but the cheap piece to return and off this mark, it just has to be considered. With the ratio on his suit, he's handled soft ground before. I think he's drawn in stall 19, so the pace does stall 16. Sorry, so if he can get the gaps from around the pace, and I think he'll have a good chance if he can work his way back to form.
I like it. So we've got 3 horses that have been mentioned there for that Stewards Cup. Run Boy Run for Andrew, which Matty's going to agree with as well because we have to. Comanche Falls and St Lawrence at massive prices. Matty, just before we move on to the next race, with the Bet365 position payout, where obviously you get more the higher the horse places, would you look at these ones because they're massive prices and think, look, I'm going to back them each way in the hope that they're just going to sneak into a place? Or would you be more interested in looking at those ones that, look, if they come second, you get a heftier return than before? Just be interested to know which way you might side with them ones.
I suppose it all depends on how you want to play it, doesn't it? I think, either. I wouldn't have a huge opinion on it at the moment, but as you know me, if you're sticking something up each way, I genuinely think it will into the places. So it's you're going to say a useful tool, but it depends on how you want to play with it.
Yeah, fair enough. Because I feel like some of the big price ones, if they're just going to sneak in, you might as well just take the each way terms of it. But obviously, when you look at the market in there, they haven't got it priced up yet. 10 a.m. in the day of the races, you can see how much more you might get if they sneak a second or third place. So it'll be interested to see how those ones price up. Right, we will move back to Newmarket for the 320. We've got the Chalice Stakes, a listed race over the Derby trip, 1.5 miles. Another really competitively priced market. We've got a load of horses in here at single figures. No horse bigger than 12 to 1. 8 runners at the time of recording. So it's a fifth of the odds for 3 places. Silent Love is the favourite with Bet365 at 3 to 1. We've got Sue Life at 7 to 2. Carmology at 4 to 1. Jane Temple at 6 to 1. Mary Bella at 8 to 1. It's Bower Chalk at 10 to 1. Star of Light 11 to 1. Crystal Flyer 12-1. So Matty, it's the dead eight, the dreaded dead eight in terms of the each way terms, but short enough prices in there. Have you got a win dart on each way place or something of interest in this race for us?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a modest-looking Challenge Stakes. That often is, really. Only one runner rate in the hundreds, and even she's been beaten a combined 30 lengths in her 2 starts for a yard so far. Do you think the one with it? I mean, the last 8 renewals, John and 30 Gosden have been responsible for 3 of those as well. So I'm going to take a chance on the outsider, the impeccably well-bred Star of Light, by Frankel out of the connections mare Starcatcher, who won 3 Group 1s for the yard. She made all to win a 0-95 Phillies handicap at Newbury last time out, game defending off the second. And she looked as if she might come off that. Well, she looks as if she might come off that too. Came after a 55-day break, having previously been beaten 2 lengths in this company, Sandown. And the form's worked out too. The third the Ed Walker horse in third, that's won the Sandringham since. So the form has worked out, so we know she can run well in this company. So I'll just take her down on the outside of Star of Light.
I like that. So Star of Light for Matty, 11-1 at the time of recording. Andrew, the Challenge Stakes, the 320 in Newmarket. Where was your eye drawn?
It's the same yard as Matty, but a different horse. I'm with Jane Temple. So the Gosdens have had 12 runs in this, 4 winners, profit of £11.50 to a £1 level stake. And I like the run of a Jane Temple behind Spirited Style at Newmarket last time. Spirited Style I'm a big fan of. We clocked a really good time when winning it Haydock's second time out. Gave him a good write-up and Racing and Football Outlook after that. And he was very well back when winning that listed contest. Now, they went quite hard up front that day, and the race played into the hand of the closers. The winner came from midfield. The runner-up, Swano, held up in rear. The fourth, slowly away, took Keenhold in rear with 28-1 shot. But Jane Temple, in finishing a 50-1 third, did best of those who raced on the front end. And I noticed when the betting came out, one firm were 10-1 into 7-1, and it's 6-1 now with Bet365. So I think Jane Temple, given the odds, good record in the race containers.
I like it. So we've got Jane Temple at 6-1 for Andrew. Again, price correct at the time of recording, and it was Star of Light for Matty at 11-1. Right, we're going through this fairly swiftly. It feels like we're into the last race. It's covered on the ITV Racing, the 3:45 at Goodwood, the Whispering Angel handicap over 7 furlongs. We've got 20 runners in here. It's the maximum field size, as it should be at Glorious Goodwood. Again, another competitive betting heat by looking at the prices. So at the time of recording, we've got Yarmo B there. Easy for you to say.
Carry on stumbling over that, because I can actually look at the form of these 20 horses right now.
We'll get subtitles in for that bit. 5-1, the favourite, number 3. We've got Mudbeer in there at 13-2. We've got Consolidation at 8-1. We've got El Matador at 8-1. We've got Montpellier at 11s. Rare Change at 12s. There's a whole host of horses in there at teens and then going into the 20s. The rank outside is Wolf of Badenoch at 33-1. Definitely been mentioned on this show before. Price-wise, Andrew, it looks like a real competitive betting heat. 5 places up for grabs. Where were you thinking of throwing some money at?
Yeah, it's tricky. You look at the last 10 renewals, all the winners were drawn in single figures. So you think, we can use the draw to help us narrow it down. But then, of course, if they swing, if it's soft enough for them to come stand side in the straight, that could play into the hands of those who are drawn higher. So again, it's kind of like a wait and see what the draw's doing, what the ground's doing on the day. So sorry to sort of blow out, wimp out again, but this will be one that I'll be looking at perhaps in my column on Saturday. One that was interesting was Mudbeer for John and Thady Gosden. Now, this one ran behind King's Charter at Doncaster. King's Charter, very, very progressive Godolphin runner who won that day and then followed up from Mahaba Gayath at Newmarket when I backed that one. Mahaba Gayath, of course, has just gone down desperately narrowly at Goodwood today, Thursday. So that race worked out well. Mudbeer took a step forward when beating Defence Minister into second at Sandown on his handicap debut last time over this 7 furlong trip. He ran respectively on soft ground on his debut as well, so I don't think conditions are going to inconvenience him. He's drawn in Storm 1, so I'll go Mudbeer in the hope that it dries out by Saturday and then not coming near side in the straight, favouring high numbers.
I like that. And like Andrew said, we've got to keep an eye on those columns from both Matty and Andrew because lots can change between now and the time that these races are going off, or at least the morning of the race. Matty, have you got a more definitive opinion in the race? Like I say, 20 runners have been confirmed for this Whispering Angel handicap over 7 furlongs, the 3:45 at Goodwood.
Yeah, I'm glad that Andrew's mentioned the draws. I've got 3 in here that I'm going to give a mention to. All drawn in stalls 5, 4, and 7. And I'll begin with the Waco Kid. It makes his handicap debut off top weight, but Jack Nicholls takes off £7. He was a smart 2-year-old who was beaten 2 lengths in the Richmond here last season before landing the Group 3 Somerville Stakes. So we know that he can handle the course. He ran a very good race, I thought, and on the season debut in the Craven behind Field of Gold. You had to be covered up, or at least on toward the rear there, with the headwind and the crosswind coming across to the rail. But he still only finished a length behind Apabello, who was obviously now rated 116 after winning twice since. So I thought that was a good effort at which could upgrade. And you can write off next time out in the listed come to where he just lost his action. Wasn't entirely disgracing the Surrey Stakes at Epsom, trying to make all before weakening late on, giving weight away to all. And I just wonder whether the angle of dropping back into handicap company off a mark off what is essentially a mark of 97 with Jack Nicholls' claim. And we'll see him when he returns to form, because he's relatively thrown on that mark. Another that I liked was Hallasan. Was ahead of the Waco Kid at Epsom. Stayed on well wide on the course, but not necessarily all looking in love with the course at all. It's only 4 lengths behind Sakara Sands that day. Who's obviously come out and dead heated to win here yesterday on Wednesday in a Group 3 company. Also not disgraced, won third on the season debut behind Big Mojo, Newmarket. Only 4 lengths behind the July Cup second there. So I just wonder whether he's dropped a mark of 96. He's another that's thrown on his 2-year-old form. He beat the French Derby winner Camille Pissarro in the 300 grand, whether he's a 2-year-old stakes race at Doncaster, say like Jamaican last season. And he's evidently trained on as a 3-year-old. He landed a Maidan Guineas trial with his stablemate second. He's come out and won since, a valuable prize in Maidan too. So Hallasan and Waco Kid on their form lads, I think I've got a good chance of over in the market. And the last one is Undersight, who actually beat Yarmoby there at York on debut in really taking fashion. Just gone off the boil since, but he's returned being gelded this season and dropping at handicap company. Looks ready for the step up to 7 furlongs now. It was actually first in his group of 4 in the same race as Hallasan at Newmarket, and I think he'd got a lot closer. He wouldn't have beaten the winner that came on the near side, but he'd got a lot closer had he been granted a clear run. So we can upgrade the effort as well. Then he went to Chester only a week ago, and he held his head relatively awkwardly there. Didn't look all that in love, but not many horses are around Chester, are they? And he was only beaten a length in the 5th when stayed on quite well, coming from the rear and wide on the track. And as I mentioned, his early season form reads quite well. It was only a short head behind the subsequent Jersey winner Noble Champion in the listed Carnarvon Stakes. So you'd imagine that off his mark, I think he's well in. Step up to 7 will suit, and Goodwood should suit him too, given how he won around York. So the 3 it'll be Undersight, Hallasan, and the Waco Kid.
Lovely. So big prices, the 3 of those. We've got 16 to 1 the Waco Kid at the time of recording, 18 to 1 Undersight, and Hallasan at 22 to 1. There is your TriCast to treat yourself to a nice holiday the back end of this summer. Right, guys, that is all the ITV racing covered. It's been difficult to get through some of these races, I think, with the weather watch, but I will still ask. Andrew, I'll come to you first. Is there anything from anywhere else at this point?
Not at this point. Check my column out, as I keep saying.
Lovely. What a lovely plug for that. Are you getting paid to plug your own column?
I don't get paid, no.
And Matty, anything from you from anywhere else?
Yeah, I'm going to Thirsk on Saturday. Actually, so I've glanced through the cards, and I think La Trinidad in the 3:35 Summer Cup will go and win it again. He won the race last season off a mark of 96. He's on that mark again. I think he's been geared for this whole season. So 4:40, at Thirsk, La Trinidad.
Love that. And that was on one of Andrew's selections for Royal Ascot. We did the top 10 there as well. So La Trinidad.
Yeah, got a great record in the summer.
Lovely. Well, that's a good horse then, and it's topical with the TriCast that Matty's going to pay for. We're going to Trinidad then, aren't we, with the winnings? Right. I'm going to come back to you again, Matty, first, because we know that Andrew needs a little bit of time to prepare for his nap. But Matty, at this stage of the show, I will ask for your best bet of the weekend. So your nap, please.
Yeah, probably comes as no surprise. It's Sam Hawkens in the 155 at Goodwood. And the recent deluge of rain has only made me more confident.
Oh, I like that. So Sam Hawkins, you both were in agreement about that. Andrew, what would your nap be for this weekend, please?
Yeah, I was sort of umming and ahhing between Arabian Crown, Sam Hawkins, and Waardah in the Lily Langtree. I'll go Waardah just to be different from Matty.
I like that, but you were both in agreement on both those horses, so that could be a nice price double nap should you get it in this week. Right, boys, thank you so much for your help this week. It's been a tricky card to get for, especially with that weather watch, but you've given us lots of insight there and lots to think about. Thank you guys at home for watching this. Like I say, drop a like on the video if you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Most of you don't subscribe, but if you can and you want to, please do so. Have a look in the description about becoming a member. It's always really helpful for you guys to do that sort of stuff. Drop a comment with what your best bet may be for Saturday, and we will see you all again next week.